Hi there, community. This is Cheryl Talley joining you today. What I thought was going to be a great celebratory time, but as it turns out, it's not. I just found out earlier today that we did not receive the free STEM grant from the racial equity folks at National Science Foundation. Um, and after so many months of anticipating and so many weeks and months of preparing for that, I'm just processing the disappointment. I admit I'd wanted to speak to you today about continue our conversations about micro writing and writing in micro steps, but I have to deal with my grief, and that's what it feels like. So much effort, so much thinking and processing and time, and so as I sit here with it, um, I'm just grateful that um, I'm grateful that I've been through this before. That sounds strange, but the memory of a past big disappointment is actually helping me right now. Um, at the time of that disappointment, I just really gave myself into the grief and the sadness, and it lasted for some time. But as I came out of it, I began to see um, there is some benefit in the experience. And I guess that's what now I'm reflecting on. The what was the win? What was the gain? So certainly the gain was working with the community like you. I mean, that's the part that actually brings tears to my eyes. Just um, how much I admire you, how much I respect you, and how brilliant and committed you are. So that is what's foremost in my mind. And if I could give you anything, like in my heart, it would be to learn the same lesson I learned from that past experience that I'm using right now. Because in hindsight, now this is looking back at it from this vantage point, there was good that came out of it. In the moment, of course, there was just pain and anguish. But in hindsight, it caused a pivot and it caused a redirect. And as it turns out, it was all good. But that was it took like 3 years for that whole process to play out. This was also dealing with an NSF grant and then a Department of Education grant. Uh, and neither of them were funded. And in the ensuing time, some great state grants about this project that I was really committed to and really passionate about. But then an opportunity was brought to me, and truly it was like 2.5 years later, in which the dean had this solicitation from Apple. And because we'd had, and it was a really quick turnaround, and because we already had a fully fleshed out grant proposal, it was easy to just cut and paste and put it into their format, and they did like it. And so it wasn't the government. It began a conversation and a relationship with Apple Computing or Apple Inc. And that relationship continues. It culminated last fall with a invitation to even go to Cupertino. So I say all that to say I doubt that that would have happened had that original two grants been funded. Because I would have been off in another direction, and the dean would have sent me something, and I would have been too oh no, that I'm doing this probably said no, maybe not, but probably. But in looking back over just the feelings around that time, that's really what I want to share with you. Um, so much work went into those two submissions. Um, so much encouragement by the program officers, even coaches in these programs. And then it was just an outright rejection, um, or decline to be funded, but it felt like a rejection. Yeah. So, but hindsight is 2020. And I every day I'm beginning this practice of truly, truly giving each task to God. So one of my and I actually may have talked about this in the blog because I'm really going to be more authentic and honest in the blog. So I have nothing to lose now, so why not? And it's talking about the GTD, the growing towards divinity, the silent and quiet part of myself that I had to cultivate first. Cultivating that quiet, introspective, spiritual part of myself. Protecting it, nurturing it, making sure that it gets fed and taken care of. And through all these health challenges, I've really had to think about this, how to do that, how to best care for this most important, most essential part of myself. And then out of that, give to the world. So as I was contemplating, thinking about these things, I decided to be quite honest with you about my life of 5 prayers. So that's the practice from which the writing practice comes. It involves a prayer in the morning, a prayer at every meal, and I'm really trying to hold a second. Um, I'm really trying to not eat unless I have prayed first. That includes snacking, okay, um, a prayer for every task, an evening prayer, and then a prayer around a ritual. So for me, church is a ritual. Or Thursday, I have a special prayer when I'm called to fast or anything. Those are rituals. So building a life around these 5 prayers. This task prayer, though, was difficult because I really, truly wanted to pray at every task. So I have a really elaborate scheme of organizing myself and keeping, productivity systems in place. But I just didn't want to be organized for the sake of being organized. I really wanted to be organized so that I can make sure my tasks align with what I'm sensing in that quiet place, like that purpose, that what I get in the quiet, not all the noise out here. So looking over at my task, do they align with that? So that was part of the reason for this prayer, and I really did want to give every task. So it goes like this. I lay this task at your feet, and the feet of the Lord. And I therefore, good or bad, the results are up to you. I detach from the result. That's the hard part. I detach from the result. And I trust you. So that's what I am bringing to this current experience. Detaching from the results. Letting the Lord be the doer. Letting spirit be expressed, no matter how it looks. I tell you, this is not an easy thing, but I believe it's the best thing. It's the way to live the life that's purpose-driven and not NSF-driven, not VSU-driven, not United States political situation-driven, no outside drivers, driven from the inside, and not even driven. It feels more like a flowing, Not like a driver, like driving cattle, or even like a driving like I'm steering. It feels more like a relaxation, more like a rest, more like a letting go. And that's really what I wanted to share with you on this day of disappointment, because I'm still, part of me is still grieving, because that's just part of it. But behind that, there is a knowing that it's going to be all right, and that we did absolutely the best we could do. And when you know that's true, then I can release the result. So have a good rest of your day. We'll talk soon. Oh, and you do have 15 minutes if you want to just write down any reflections on the day for yourself. Talk to you soon.